Morning all and welcome to this week's edition of the Vero Coaches Wrap, obviously for round 8, proudly brought to you by our great sponsor Vero. First off, I'd just like to thank everyone for their questions this week, and especially Scott's comment earlier yesterday, wishing me all the best and that I'm a game man coming on to do this week. The reality is, guys, that it is what it is, and I need to come up here and explain to the supporters out there and all the members about exactly what transpired on the weekend. No doubt you all saw it. Extremely disappointing, not only from your point of view, from a club point of view, a coach's point of view, and it's probably taken us a couple of days to get over it and to realise how bad the performance was and what effect it has on not only the players and the coaches but also you fans out there. So we'll do our best to answer as many questions as we can and go through exactly what went wrong on Saturday night against Collingwood. The areas of improvement were obviously there's quite a few from the weekend, but one thing I just wanted to touch on is obviously the first 43 minutes of the game. We didn't score our first goal through Zorks until the 44-minute mark. And here you'll see just a table. This is what we get in the box, and it's called CIS, which is a champion data stats program. It enables us to track everything that's going on during the game. We get it live. And here is it right up to the 43-minute mark of the game, which is obviously about 15 minutes into the second quarter. Just want to highlight a few things here. Obviously, the possessions was minus 50 at this stage. Contested possessions was minus 25. Our clearances were down by 6. And our inside 50s were down by 20. Main part of that was probably through our midfield. And you can see I've highlighted our starting midfield and Collingwood starting midfield. And then I've got a table up there about the total number of possessions from our midfield group, which was minus 30. Our contested possessions was minus 14, our inside 50s was minus 10. So basically that's where the game was won and lost in the first 43 minutes of the game. And you can see there, their experienced players, Pendlebury, Sidebottom, Treloar, obviously got off to a great start. We couldn't control them. We had players playing roles on them that they couldn't get the job done. And our highest possession winner there was Dame Beams, who unfortunately had to leave the ground at three-quarter time with a knee injury, which he sustained probably early in the game. So for him to be our highest possession winner up to that stage of the game, it's a terrific effort by him, but probably reflects on the rest of our midfield that we've got some work to do. We really have, and we'll get to that in a minute. Just a couple of edits to put that into perspective. You can see here that Collingwood were obviously first to the ball. Their intensity was up. They won the contest. They flipped it around. We were chasing for most of the game, especially the first half. After half-time, we did even up the contested ball and kicked a few goals, but the damage had already been done by then. And you can just see these examples where Collingwood just had total control of the game. This one as well, we've got the football. We give it straight back to the opposition. They out-hunt us. The contested possessions was obviously the big one, as I had in the previous screen. And then they just transferred the footy from their back half and scored far too easily. Obviously, we didn't get our first goal until that stage in the second quarter. So it was extremely disappointing. I understand everyone's frustrations. I'm obviously disappointed myself as well. We live and breathe it as well, so don't think for 1 minute that we're not upset either. A couple of questions that I'll go through during the presentation rather than at the end. The first one, on the night's performance Saturday, is there anything we can do in the coach's box? Yeah, look, we can try a number of different things, and these are the things we tried on the weekend. As coaches, you're always trying to do things to get the players back in the game, to try and get the game back on your terms, to try and get the opposition to stop scoring the momentum. We obviously put Richie to half back, Pearce through the middle. I changed up our stoppage structures about 3 or 4 times. Blackie worked through his centre bounce stuff and tried to change things up, but we just couldn't get the boys up and going. And yeah, we probably kept changing the deck chairs and moving the deck chairs, and that's all you can really do from the box, unfortunately. At half-time, obviously Lepper had a few stern words to say to the group, and they came out firing in the third quarter. But there are a few things that we do try and do, and we did do on the weekend. But again, it's not like we are sitting back and just watching it unfold. We are trying to stem the flow and try and do the best we can to get the boys hopefully back up and about and winning contested ball, which is the main thing. The next question that was asked, a very good question about our backline. It's obviously very young. And I've just compiled here who played in our seconds on the weekend. And you can see there that there isn't much experience there. Obviously, Dan McStay pulled out the game, so he actually didn't play in the lethal, but he's our most experienced defender, albeit that he's played forward as well with 34 games that didn't play on the weekend. So they're all kids in our seconds. These are the other guys that didn't play. Harris Andrews obviously out for another couple of weeks. A very important play to us. Hugh Beasley's injured. Clark is probably the biggest one for us. That was really disappointing, not only for himself but for the team. He finished off last year really well, had a terrific pre-season. Unfortunately, due to concussion and some head injuries, he's had to retire. So that's really hurt us. And again, it's no excuse for our performances, but it is what it is. We need to deal with it. We need to make these younger guys better. And the big challenge for us is, again, our midfielders being able to win contested possessions, but also put pressure on the opposition so the ball's not coming in 70 times like it did on the weekend, and leaving these young defenders in our back line, one out, and that's a really hard job. We had Roger Merritt and Paps as our key defenders on the weekend, and it just became too hard for them. So the pressure's on our midfielders to bounce back this week and perform at a level that we expect them to. What's going to be different with our training this week? Again, and I just want to emphasise a point, these are not excuses, but I'm just trying to give you guys an idea of what we do during training. So obviously last week we played Port Adelaide on Sunday, we flew back Monday, so we only really had a 5-day break as such leading into the Collingwood game, which means we only get the players for one session during last week, which was 35 minutes. And that's just an idea of what we train in that 35 minutes. So there was obviously reports about our contested ball work, but we actually didn't do any last week. We just weren't able to. It was more about the recovery. So a lot of the things we did last week was recovery and indoor development type skills, so they were more off their legs, so we only had them for the one session. However, this week with an 8-day break we get them for 2 sessions, so we actually get them for 90 minutes this week, which gives us a real opportunity to get some work into them, especially our contested ball stuff and our ball movement. So we actually get them for 90 minutes, which is 3 times as much as last week. So we'll train on Wednesday, as you'll see in the session there, and our main session will be Friday, which we can really ramp up. Get the boys working hard with stoppage work, our contested ball work, and get their mindset back on the job. It's really important for us this week that we come with an attitude that we want to win contested ball, whatever it takes to win contested footy. So that's our program for this week. What will be the focus this week of the squad? Well, hopefully after yesterday's review, the boys don't need too much pumping up about what needs to be done this week. We want to see a unit that goes out this week and with an attitude of just hunting the football, hunting the opposition. Contested football is number one, and what comes from that comes from that. It's really important for our group and our club, our NEFL players, everyone, that we don't put that performance in again. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable as a playing group. It's not right for you supporters and members who come and watch us. Put your hard-earned cash into the club, so we've got a real emphasis this week on coming out as hard as we can and just having a real effort. Whatever happens on the scoreboard happens on the scoreboard. We'll go in with some confidence that we can match it with Melbourne, but that's going to be the real emphasis this week. And the last thing I just want to touch on is just what went well. Obviously there wasn't a great deal, but young Ben Keys, he's been a real... It's been really good for the young kid to come in and play his role each week. And you can see there through his stats that he had a lot of contested footy, his tackling. He just brings some energy in his forward line. And so that's the path we're going down, bringing some young kids into the side. Hopefully they can play their roles, and it's the future of the football club. So hopefully that answers a few questions about last week. Hopefully there's still a lot of belief around in terms of where we're going and where we're heading, because we are on the right path. Our first 6 weeks and probably one quarter of Port Adelaide was real positive for us. We've let ourselves down in the last game and the last 3 quarters before that. But this is the path we'll go down and hopefully put on a much better result for our supporters out there this week.